lady who walks around without being shady, who knows the values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you hear me?
Hello, this is your girl Tasha, known to the world as Latasha Carpenter, but everybody calls me your girl Tasha because when you hang with me, it's like you are hanging with your girl. And guys, last week you talked so much about our episode of the No Other Mother Circle that we had to come back with a part 2. Yes, this is part 2 of the episode. We thank each and every one of you for joining. So many people received something from last week's episode, so we want to make sure that we start right now. I need you to go down to the left corner of your screen, click share, make sure you invite. Especially if you know any mothers that have lost their children, be sure to invite them, okay? Share and invite. So today, I know you guys are like, those aren't the people that was here last week. Well, we have a new addition with us this week, and you will see the other 2 moms. They are here waiting in the studio, and they will be on too. But today, we have our founder of the No Other Mother Circle back. And for those of you that weren't here last week to hear who she is, I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. And then I'm going to allow this handsome young man next to her to also introduce himself.
Hello, I'm KeKe Collins, founder of No Other Mother.
And my name is Darius Wilkes. KeKe's oldest son.
And just to explain real brief what No Other Mother is, KeKe, can you let our audience know?
Yes. No Other Mother is a virtual grief support group that is for mothers who have lost their children to senseless violence. Just mothers who have lost a child, period.
Yes, to anyone at all.
Yes, anyone.
But this, at the beginning right here, guys, I wanted to really focus on the Collins family. I want the first part of our show. Y'all make sure y'all stay here because we got some special stuff. We even got a guest that you guys don't even know is supposed to be on the show. So y'all just stay here. But this beginning part of the show is to focus on Dante. And Dante is KeKe's son and Darius's brother. So, KeKe, can you just share with the audience the story of Dante? And Darius, if you want to hop in and help Mom, hop in and help her.
What happened?
Yes.
Okay. Dante...
The night of, the night of July 31st, we were all over on Emerson and Hilton, and that's on the west side of Baltimore, Maryland. And we were in the house, average night. We were in there playing, and Dante came over. And when he got there, he seemed flustered and frustrated about something. And
everything that happened.
Just long story short, we had took a ride out to near where he lives at, out in Glen Burnie, Maryland, and one thing happened to another, and
So Dante was a victim of
gun violence.
Just to, because again, we don't have to go into anything at all. He was a victim of gun violence, and he was how old?
22 years old.
22 years old. And he left behind
2 brothers, his mother and father.
Okay. Now, what kind of person? Tell everybody, because we want to talk about, because gun violence is something that's very, very serious. I'm so sick and tired of all the stories about people losing people because we can't be like we used to back in the day, where we used to fist fight or whatever, instead people are pulling out guns and taking people's lives. This individual who took his life, tell the people, talk about Dante, what type of person he was.
Dante was just bigger than life. Dante was our go-to. Dante was the glue that held us together. He was my middle son, but he just
Little big brother.
feared, yes, he feared nothing, it seemed like.
Little
So,
big brother.
Dante was a go-getter. Dante, he just was always just mild-mannered. He he didn't give you any problems. He just wanted to make everybody okay. He wanted life to be okay for everybody that he loved, and he just was awesome. He definitely was heaven sent. God definitely blessed me and my family with Dante. I'm not taking away from my other two boys because they're awesome. But I can say that my other two boys know that Dante just was special. He was.
I mean, if I can say, I always categorized us three, meaning me, Dante, and my little brother, Darrell. We were like the body. I was the mind. I felt as though Dante was the strength, and Darrell was kind of the heart. I felt as though me being the oldest, like I think outside the box. I always think big. I feel like I can't think small. I don't know how to. Every thought or idea I ever had always is larger than life. And I felt as though that's what I brought to the table as my mom's son, as the oldest brother. Dante again was fearless. It would be rare that you would find anything that he felt as though he couldn't do, or if he couldn't do it, he would try to find some way to do it, or how to do it. And Darrell, mild mannered like my mom, sweetheart, smart as I don't know what, and but Dante again, he helped keep that body going. I can count numerous times, and again, just being me and him, big brother and little brother, Dante always would find a way to bring some type of light in the situation. I'm my mom's child. I get emotional a lot, and I get frustrated. But again, Dante would always bring some resolve and some foundation to whatever was going on and how to get up out of a situation.
So last week during the segment, you surprised your mom
Yeah.
because you dialed in, and KeKe, you explained that you really never heard him open up and talk about it.
Darius, I knew I needed help. I needed support, put it like that. I knew I needed support right away. Darius, he just always felt like nobody will understand my pain. Like, what are they going to do for me? And he shied away from support. But he'll talk to me because I expressed to him how I feel. But he never talked openly about it with the world, basically. And just to hear his voice on the radio, online last week, it just was like, wow, he's ready.
So it's like you kind of had like a little breakthrough moment there.
Yeah, knowing how far my mom came as far as with this journey that we're on, again, like, it's motivational. And it's sad because who would want some type of motivation from a situation that I feel like we're dealing with. But 28 years dealt with a lot. I feel like going into great detail is not needed at this time. But us four, me, my mom, Dante, and Darrell, 4 horsemen. Never took no love from, or shunned away from the love from the outside family and stuff like that. But we was all we had. And me being the oldest and him passing the way it happened and me being there, it comes with a lot of emotions. Comes with a great deal of feeling like I let a lot of people down. And this is a lot of times again, trying to become a man, and the man I feel as though I want to be and should be, and that's a great man. Like, I want to be a great man. But having certain situations come into my life it's like I'm at a standstill. And again, that situation that happened with Dante was more so it took the life out of me. So I know I'm speaking parables. I talk, but reverting back to the fact of me not speaking on it, or feeling like nobody can really help me. Thanks to my mom and a lot of struggles I've been through, I'm very headstrong. Um, I feel like I do need help. I know I do, but having the faith and the belief that I do in God, like it's no shaking in it. It's no 1 minute I feel like He has me, 1 minute I feel like He don't. Um, Real quick, I had a experience where I moved to Miami and I got my GED. I was in it for a year and 7 months, and I met a wonderful pastor. Her name is Pastor Miz, and she was the only one that actually ever in a whole life of going to church every Sunday and stuff like that ever made me feel that connected to God. And I just feel like she used to always tell me, me being a Christian and having the belief I have in God, I'm the lender, not the borrower, which is what she used to tell me. So I used to always keep that in mind, knowing that while I was there, I would get a phone call every week. Somebody's going through this. Somebody's going through that. This is happening. That's happening. And I would always wonder, like, why me? Why am I getting this phone call? Like, but it never dawned on me. And as I got older and matured and started to really see things, that I was going to church in Florida every Sunday. We was actually holding church in our house, in the living room. And it was a church home of probably about 8 people. And I felt as though at that time I was so in tune with God and I was so connected with Him, whereas though my conscious mind, I felt like I had conversations with Him. So long story short, bringing all that together, I feel like He's the only one that can help me. I feel like I know for a fact out in this world, it's a lot of people who's going through what we're going through and dealt with what we're dealing with. I just feel like to live on my little brother's legacy, or more so help my family out, I have to stay strong and know that my strength, my help, them nights that I feel like I can't go on and I don't have nobody to talk to, like I just look up to God and talk to God. And subconsciously, and more so not subconsciously, but I feel like I have conversations with my brother at times. One was around the time that he actually passed, and I give it probably about 6-7 months later. I heard very clear in my head, bro, you have to keep going. And since Miami, a lot of good thoughts or good things that I feel as though come through my conscious mind, I feel like it's of God. Like, He wouldn't bring nothing to me negative. He wouldn't tell me anything wrong. So again, to hear that voice of my little brother clear as day in my head saying, bro, keep going, it had to be him. Like,
So Darius, were you talking about that the pastor instilled into you that you are the lender and you're not the borrower?
yes, ma'am.
And the fact that people came to you. Maybe this breakthrough right here, I know last week was the 2-year anniversary.
Yes, ma'am.
We had the memorial service, and you spoke to how you admire your mother and how, what you said?
As far as
You can say the words. Go ahead. You was like, excuse my profanity. Go ahead. What you say about mommy?
she's the SHIT to me. And oh, she's just an OG. Like, to know again, like the things that she's overcame. I mean, and beyond losing my little brother, she lost her boyfriend of 9 years due to cancer, and she stood by that man every step of the way. Never walked away from him. And then prior to that, she actually stood by his mom's side, and that she passed away. And again, to know that she throws this cloak of armor on every day when she comes out, and that smile and her attitude and personality, and she keeps it moving. Now, I know her personally.
So imagine this. The lender and not the borrower. Admiring your mom and her strength. Holding your stuff in right now. Knowing that God is where your help is going to come from. Suppose you also, inside of you, have a gift that grief is hard. Nobody's going to be the same.
Right.
I can't speak to losing a sibling or a child, but I can speak to lose my mother to breast cancer.
Right.
You're never going to be the same. Suppose that inside you, because we have people who are just said, Darius, you're powerful. You're already a great man. it doesn't mean that you got to be a great man. So sometimes people forget to use the gifts that God has put inside of us already.
That's right.
To help others, because I guarantee you that somebody that's watching this right now, there's another young man who lost his brother, who's trying to be the backbone for his mother, who feels that he has disappointed somebody else, that now is able to say, damn, I'm not the only one. So I just want you, I'm so glad that you had that breakthrough where you were able to call in last week. And I just want to say, like Dante say, keep going. Keep going.
That's right.
There's something there that you are supposed to do in this world too. Your mother has great things in her. She's done that no other mother circle. It doesn't mean that you got to go out there and start a support circle for brothers who lost their brother.
If I can say this, though, if I can say this, and it's sad, but I know if I could like throw it in there, I know how much.
Go ahead, throw it in there. Go ahead. What you got popping? You got something pop? I see something.
Yeah.
I see some light bulbs. Oh, shucks. What you about to say?
Again, like I said, I could never, I mean, as a kid, I ain't gonna say as a kid, I say since 18, 19, I could never think small. And it hurts, like, when I think of this, because, again, like, it's thinking of Dante. Prior to him passing, me and Dante wanted to do a nonprofit for young guys. In our city, what goes on a lot of young guys, I feel like, get trapped and subdued into the thought of the fast money and the drugs and the girls and stuff like that gets you to that next pinnacle in life. When, again, a person such as myself, who I would never clarify myself as the baddest person on the planet or this, that, and the third, but I felt as though I've had both sides of that life. I've never been to jail. I've had little walkthroughs as far as being caught at the wrong place at the wrong time, but I've never been convicted of anything like that. But I've also, again, when I mentioned me going to Miami, I was down there going to South Beach every weekend, going to Miami Heat games. And I'm an average guy from West Baltimore, who, again, didn't have a bad upbringing, but, I mean, we ain't always have it. But, long story short, me and Dante wanted to do the nonprofit in a sense of just trying to show guys, and young guys, rather, that going a positive route, trying to find a job, furthering yourself in school, if it's your sports lover, again, my whole family breeds sports players, so we've been in that sports environment for years. Just trying to chase goals that obtain more to life than materialistic things or reputation or that sense of, oh, I'm the man. I feel like me being a young black male, and I definitely don't want to like veer off because I can talk for days. It's a lot going on out here in these streets as far as like us young black guys, and I feel like with a collective agreement with all of us, and it's sad because I feel like all it takes is just a change of thought that we're all we got. We can take over this world, and in a positive manner. And it's sad, and I'm again far from a hypocritical person or someone that talks down or bashes other people. But I sit back and look at Hispanics. I sit back and look at Caucasians. I sit back and look at every other race, despite black males. We don't stick together at all. It was sad because on Facebook last week, I scrolled through videos and look at videos a lot. A Hispanic guy, he got fired at a warehouse. And when he got fired, every last Hispanic worker that worked at that warehouse walked out with him. And I took that on a whole global scale as far as, again, if we can look at the next, for instance, if I can look at the next black man and be like, all right, that's my brother. No matter what he got, what I don't have, none of that. Just look at him as that's my brother. And then it keeps going on. The next person looks at it like that. The next person looks at it like that. In the end of the day, again, no government would be able to stop us. No, it's too many of us out here. It's too many of us out here. It's too many. And we sit back and talk about no jobs, and we ain't got this, and we don't have that, and it's hard for us this, and it's hard for us that. I feel like everybody knows how hard it is. Everybody knows what we don't have and what we should have. But at the end of the day, I feel like, and it's sad, but I feel it wholeheartedly. Like, I feel like I have a slight inkling of like a little Malcolm X up in me. And
oh, shucks. I was about to say Darius for president. Hold on a moment. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hanging with your girl Tasha. Who do we have calling? And where are you calling from? Please turn down your volume in the background. Hello?
Hello,
Hi, it's Hanging with your girl Tasha. Who do we have calling and where are you calling from?
this is Sherry calling from Baltimore.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, and you? You have something you like to say to Darius and KeKe?
Yes, I just want to tell them that I love them and to keep pushing. I admire both of their strength, and they know I'll always be there for them.
Thank you, Sherry. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you more.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Okay.
So, did you know all that?
No, like I'm over here. My tears done dried up, and I feel so proud because, I know what I know I birthed kings.
Yeah.
So to hear him, just this is what I knew, and Dante knew he had it in him, but to see it now, I just believe that Dante just deposited himself in all of us, and all of us got something that we didn't know we had, but now it's coming out. So I thank God for this moment. I do.
Well, Mr. Darius X is coming out, guys. Darius X, he's coming out. So look, at this moment, I think this is a good time because I'm so glad that you was able to lift your mom up. But guys, we are going to take a quick break because I'm bringing somebody into the studio for a quick moment. So just see us on the flip side. Don't you go nowhere. Share and invite. Share and invite. Share and invite.
You spend a total of 3 years of your life on the toilet, with an unavoidable portion of that in a public restroom. Public restrooms are notoriously intimidating, often missing stuff you need the most. And let's not talk about the bacteria and germs, even if the restroom looks clean. Germs spread when you flush the toilet. There's contaminated toilet paper, germy sinks, and blow dryers. It's a jungle of germs in there. But sometimes you really have to go. So you have to do this, and 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 even this. And ladies, you're twice as likely to encounter harmful germs. You know you're going to have to go again. So protect your bottom with the Restroom Kit, a convenient and discreet package containing the most essential products to help you stay protected in an inadequate or unsanitary restroom. It's guaranteed to have what you need: toilet paper, tush wipe, hand wipe, and a patented oversized toilet seat cover, pre-sealed and individually wrapped for on-the-go convenience. Designed with your whole family in mind, the Restroom Kit works when you need it the most and gives you confidence and cleanliness wherever you go. Take the worry out of using a public restroom and protect your bottom with the Restroom Kit. Find us on Facebook or visit www.therestroomkit.com.
Welcome back to Hanging with Your Girl Tasha and part 2 of the No Other Mother Circle. If you're just joining us, please be sure to share and invite. And if you're just joining us, you definitely got to hit the replay and catch the beginning, okay? But we are in the studio with the founder of No Other Mother Circle, KeKe Collins, and her son that we just learned is now Darius X. Y'all got to watch the beginning to know what we talk about. This is Darius X. This guy is going to do great things. He's already a great man, as one of our viewers have said. But we have a guest join us in the studio, and some of you guys might remember her from my very first episode. We have the wonderful Grandma Slam in the house. So I'm going to let Grandma Slam just share with you why I called her, and just say anything that you'd like to say to the family, Grandma.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here. I think this program is so very important because we are losing too many of our children, and it just don't make sense. I used to vend downtown, and one day I was breaking down. It was 4 o'clock, so we had to break down our table. And this beautiful mother came up, and so I was showing off about I'm a poet. So she said, "My son used to be a poet." I said, used to be. So yes, he was killed. And she told me this story that he was a poet and he had gone to New York and got a book deal and a record deal. And he used to live over in Southeast, but his mom and dad moved him over to Mitchellville, Maryland. But he had a friend, Honeydew, that he loved this friend so much. And every time he would have some good news or something, he would go over in Southeast to tell Honeydew. But Honeydew was involved in drugs. And somehow he had crossed a Jamaica dealer. And so when jury came to share the good news about he got a record deal and all this and the book going, he couldn't find Honeydew. But the drug dealer found him, the Jamaica drug dealer found him. And he thought that Honeydew they were brothers, but they weren't. So he took a gun and shot Jariri 6 times in the back and was standing over him laughing. And when the mother found out about it, she was upset. And then he had a wife that was pregnant. When she found out about the loss of her husband, she lost the baby. So I wrote this. I got so upset. The mother was crying. I'm crying. So when I went home that night, and usually take me a little time to write a poem, I wrote this overnight. I was so upset. And but this killing got to stop. It really has to stop.
So last week at the memorial, KeKe spoke to a mom that was there. Her name is Rez. And Rez is that type of angry mom. Mm-hmm. She want to tear everybody down. KeKe is mild-mannered in what she's doing. And when KeKe said that, Rez, you gotta go get him, just knock him out type of person, and she admires that, made me think about Grandma Slam and her poem that she's about to share with you. Because that, to me, is that powerful type of poem that someone else has felt about gun violence. So at this time, without further ado, Grandma is going to share with us.
And before I share, I would like to, this poem is dedicated to the loving memory of Brother Jariri J. Young, born February the 24th, 1974, joined out the ancestors September the 26th, 1993. Dante D. Collins was born on February 11, 94, and he joined the ancestors July 7, 3116. And this poem is not only for the young men that we are losing, it also is for the young ladies that we are losing. Bang, bang, bang. What gave you the right to have taken my son's life? Oh, please tell me, what gave you the right to have taken my son's life, who left behind a very pregnant wife, who was someone's husband, father, brother, grandson, and cousin? Bang, bang, bang. What gave you the right to have taken my son's life? What was the rationale? Couldn't you have just paused for a moment to think about the consequences of your behavior? Did you think about the domino effects or hurt and pain and grief that have caused me and so many others? An innocent life full of opportunity, potential, who had a purpose being here on this earth, snuffed out just like that. Bang, bang, bang. 6 bullets, one after another, into my child's back. You was too much of a coward to shoot him point blank, face to face. Maybe, just maybe you would have realized that he was a brother who cries, bleeds, and is hurting just like you. Why, oh why would you violate my son's or anyone else's right to live? Was it a lack of knowledge of thyself, insecurity, self-hatred, low self-esteem, or just plain not giving a darn? I need to know the truth right now. Bang, bang, bang. As my son lay bleeding profusely face down into a mass of blood, dying from his gunshot wounds that you solely had afflicted by your callous and dirty hand. You had an arrogant smile on your face of contentment, showing no compassion, remorse, to you a job well done. Bang, bang, bang. One thing you quite obviously and selfishly overlooked through your very own anger and hostility. Your very own mother, who I know within my heart and soul did not raise you to be a killer. You see, when you shot my son 6 times in his back, you shot me, his mother. You also shot your very own mother in the canal of our wounds. We too are now bleeding profusely with our faces down. We too are now bearing the everlasting labor pain of your confusion because you didn't know your true self-worth. We too are now weeping with heavy aching hearts and must pay for the high price of your costly sin in the killing field of our children now and generation to come, sadly ever after. The violence and madness must cease. Bang, bang, bang. We are all now victims, mainly you with that arrogant smile on your face of contentment with no compassion or remorse. The judicial system is waiting just for you with open arms, a locked down padded cell door of your inner mind, thoughts, and soul. That's how valuable and priceless a human life is. God, who is love, God is the only one that can give life and not you. Bang! Oh! Bang! Oh! Bang! Oh! What gave you the right to have taken my son's life? Thank you.
KeKe, I hope she says some words that are, for you, to me, it resembles what you said last week, you know, about these people who are going out here and taking away people's children. It has to stop.
It has to
It's
stop.
too many people. While we're in this studio right now, somebody
It's getting
done
killed.
lost somebody right now. And it has got to stop. And these politicians need to stop just yapping their mouth. They need to really do something around here. And with that, you guys have anything y'all want to say before I break again? Just anything on your mind?
I want to say I appreciate that, girl.
Thank you very much.
That was very, like,
Guess how old she is?
so,
79.
Really?
that we don't look like.
Guess when she started doing poetry? Tell them when you started doing poetry.
At the age of 60 after my husband died.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 19 years. And her mom and her auntie really pushed me and looked after me and made sure I did the right poems. Yes, indeed.
So when you think about that, and you were listening to Darius talk before the break, and what he has in his vision about what he wants to carry out, any advice that you could give him about following his dream and stepping out there and taking that leap of faith?
Yeah, take that leap of faith and don't stop, don't look around, just go for it. And long you work in God's footsteps, we can make a difference. You can make a difference.
I used to have that fear. I used to have that fear, feeling like I'm only one little person. Like with all these great ideas and thoughts that I have, I can't change the world by myself.
Yeah.
But Dante,
Start.
Dante
That's
definitely he would always tell me. I felt like if ain't nobody had belief in me or felt as though I could be the great man that I always envisioned myself being, Dante always said.
And that's what God had chosen you for. You know, God had chosen you to step out there and work on people's hearts and souls where they won't be killing and shooting one another. What the problem is that we don't love ourselves. And then we don't love our people. Because we wouldn't be killing, taking a gun, and shooting your brother who looking just like you. So you can make a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I wanted to call it Tay's Helping Hand, just because at the end of the day, Dante would help and go out his way to help anybody.
Yes.
And I feel like to live on his legacy and as far as to make sure his name continues to go on, that's definitely what I, in the near future, am trying to do. Yeah. So be on the lookout for Tay's Helping Hand. I want to try to start off with lawn care and car washing. I wanted to do it this summer, but things was kind of a little rocky. But soon.
Tay's Helping Hand. And guys, we're going to take another break. It's kind of like I have different guests that have been on the show that brought me memories about things that affected the No Other Mother Circle during our first meeting that we ever had on the virtual circle. I shared with them because I felt it was appropriate at that time. One of the previous guests, Jasper, she was unable to be here today, but we are going to show her video Safe Haven, which is about a mother who lost her children to Sandy Hook and the weather and the tornadoes and just anywhere. The fact that each one of these mothers, as I gave them the shirts last week, it says, I'm one blessed mother. They find their safe haven in God. So now we're going to break to Safe Haven.
Just yesterday, everything seemed nice, so fair now. Breakouts of trouble, no longer rare. People are dying from things unaware. But hold to the promises, seeming distant. Hold to the hope that seems gone missing. Jesus is the Lamb. Jesus is the lamb that keeps on glistening. He's my safe haven.
Hey guys, welcome back to Hanging with your girl Tasha. I think y'all all recognize these faces from last week. We got 2 new people, so I want them to refresh you on who they are.
I am Denisha Coates Davis.
I am Tawana Eugene.
Okay, and each one of them have lost a child. Just briefly mention what happened with Julie. Not what happened, but if you want to say something special about Julie and Brittany, just say something briefly about Julie and Brittany for the audience so they can know your story if they missed us last week.
Okay, well, for me, I'll say that Brittany actually passed in her sleep. She was an athlete, and many of us have heard stories about children collapsing on the field or courts or whatever. Her case, it was basically the same thing, except she went to sleep and she didn't wake up. It wasn't until after her death that I met with a naturopathic physician. We went over everything that happened, autopsy report, and what he said to me was this was a nutritional deficiency. So it put me on a whole another health journey, because we see this happening all the time, and they don't have an answer for these athletes as to why this is happening to them. So I'm led to believe when everything else looks to be fine, appears to be fine, you can't give me a reason that's what I'm left to believe, that it's nutritional. So I went out to talk to parents and coaches and athletes about, your children are, like, every time they step on a field or a court, they are really putting themselves on the line. And we have to, as parents, be responsible for our children. We have to not entrust the doctors with our children's lives. They are our children. And if you hear something that doesn't make sense or doesn't sit well with you, investigate it. I mean, do your due diligence, because you don't want to be a part of this circle. I promise you that.
Thank you, Danisha.
My son Julian, he passed away at the age of 28. He had a seizure, actually in his sleep as well. His seizure started off as being humming, and then staring, and then going into jerking. But I don't even know really what to say at this point. I just say, as Danisha said, you definitely don't want to be in this circle.
Thank you. So while you guys are talking about the circle, that's one of the questions, guys. We're going to try to pack in some things that may help other moms that are out there grieving, maybe even other dads, brothers, sisters, because there is not, Danisha brought up last week how they talk about these certain stages of death that you're supposed to go through. That we don't, it's our belief that does not apply to when you have lost a child. There's no cookie cutter approach about the stages of grief that you go through. So I want to start with asking you guys, can you tell me, not KeKe, KeKe is the founder and No Other Mother, but what has No Other Mother meant to you guys, and how has it helped you, and why would you encourage other people to get involved?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay, go ahead.
For me, being in the group, what it allowed me to do is to actually look at myself and see some things that I didn't realize. A couple of weeks ago, I shared with the ladies, it was one time when I wasn't even really trying to say anything. I was trying to just stay quiet for a minute. And within an hour within our session, I had an aha moment that I never, ever had a chance to really grieve for my son. So what that did or allowed me to do is actually break down for the very first time, and it's been 10 years for me. My son passed away on the 21st of July, and it's been 10 years. And just in the last 3 months, that's when I really got a chance to actually grieve for him. I didn't realize that I had not done that.
For me, being a part of the circle, I came in not knowing what to expect, but I am fortunate enough, and I say fortunate, people may not understand it, but I'm fortunate to be able to offer support to the other mothers. There's nothing easy about grief. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I'm thankful that I'm able to be there for them because I've gone through a lot of the stages, and just because I've gone through them once doesn't mean they won't circle back and I'll go through them again, because it's a never ending, always changing journey. But I appreciate being able to be a support because I didn't have that. And for me, it's major to be able to say, it's okay. Like, this is normal. You're not by yourself. You're not crazy, and have it to be a safe place where we can all come, great day, bad day, whatever type of day we're having, and just put it out there. And it's a no judgment zone. So for me, I've gotten as much as I've given, to the group. I've gotten out of it. So I'm thankful for that, because we all need a safe place to go when you're grieving, and a lot of people just don't have that. They don't know where to turn, because you can't talk to somebody as openly who hasn't lost a child to someone who has.
And what has the circle meant to you, Miss Founder?
The circle is, I've been in a lot of different support groups, but this one, not only because I am the founder, but this one was just so unique because every one of you bought something that I needed. I know as the founder, it doesn't put me above anyone. And my biggest concern was having to be strong, and to know I don't have to be strong. I don't have to be the leader, because these ladies lead. Is somebody in the circle always steps up, because everyone isn't strong all the time. So it's the safe place, as you say, that we're able to share our pain. And just the bond that us ladies have is just awesome. It's just awesome.
So, ladies, I was reading about how some people, because we're trying to, in a very short time, offer some, is the word tips right? I don't know. It's not tips. I just can't come up with another word right now. Charge it to my mind and not my heart. But they talk about that there are some people that go out and they choose to avoid going places that triggers memories of their lost child. So what I would like is if you could take turns to just speak to, did you find yourself in that situation? Maybe give an example or something that you made sure that you avoided, and whether or not you eventually confronted it. And do you think that there's a person out there that might be stuck with, for instance, even with Darius talking in the beginning, he was choosing not to talk about stuff. But I think that there was if you, Tawana said, aha moment, light bulb moment with him that allowed him to talk. And he was able to share stuff with KeKe that she didn't even know that was on his heart that he wants to do. So avoiding it may not be good. Speak to if you avoided something, and then when you finally confronted it, if you ever confronted it, what difference did it make for you?
I don't know, for me, I know like a lot of people do visuals and stuff like that. I'm just one that do not visit the cemetery. I know for a fact that my son is not there. So for me, I just, I ride by and I wave. I'm like, hey, I be speaking to him and all that stuff, but I just don't feel like going in there and looking at, a grave or whatever. It just does something to me. I can't do it. That's just for me.
I don't do that with my mom either, or anybody else. I go the one time and that's enough for me, and that's different. It's just, I just don't have, I'm like you on that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I in the beginning, I used to go because I just needed to sit and be with her not physically, but by myself, and just sit and just, I felt like it put me closer to her just being there, but I don't go anymore because it was so draining. It was just so taxing, and every time I left, I was worse than when I got there. So you got to know that the things that people recommend that you do, you don't always have to do. You do what's best for you, because what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me.
Exactly.
But I know that avoiding the death because you don't want to experience the grief brings you to where Tawana was 10 years later, and you're just getting to, because you don't want to prolong, you don't want to go through it, but I believe that the longer you avoid it, the worse it is, the longer the journey is, because I don't know if you've gone through any of the other stages, but at 10 years, you may just be starting the journey.
Well, I know that even the day that I found out, it was like a 2-second reaction, and then it was like I heard this voice that said, okay, you have no time to do that, it's time to get to work, so I was constantly moving and moving and moving, and then it was just so much other things going on in my life, just dealing with, I had another grandbaby coming and all that, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. So, and then when people look at you a certain way and they feel like you're this strong person, you try to portray that, you try to show that you're that strong person. So, I mean, going through the whole funeral and everything, getting things prepared and all that, I never ever cried. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're just so strong, you're just so this. But all the time, not knowing years later that it was going to have that effect on me. It was breaking me down slowly, very slow, till it got to the point where other things was happening to me. Me personally, I mean, with all the other stuff that was going on, man, listen, people think you crazy, and I probably was acting crazy, and at that time, acting crazy and crazy is two different things, But at that particular moment, when you're in your feelings, you just don't know what to do. Just certain things just start happening to you that you had no control over. At least I thought I didn't, But we can control our emotions at times. But then other times there's just no control, and you just get in them and you run with them.
I think we try to control our emotions for the sake of other people, not even for ourselves.
Right, exactly.
We're trying to protect them from something, and we're the ones who are really suffering. Like, what you think, like, what is really wrong with me? Why am I more concerned about your well-being than I am about mine? And when you talk about triggers, Tasha, that's the part of grief that's one of the parts that will not allow the journey to end, because it could be a butterfly tomorrow. It could be the wind. It could be a song on the radio. It could be anything that you saw your child do, your child was involved in, loved. It could be all the things that your child will never get to do. So, I mean, triggers, there are a million triggers out here. And people think that it's the stuff that is most common or, most obvious, but it's not. It could be, I could see a pink shirt in the store one day and be, oh, this is so pretty. The next day I go in there and I'm boo-hooing because I'm thinking, oh my God, Brittany would love this shirt, or it's no rhyme or reason. And that's really what, when people look at us and say how strong you are, not even just in the death of your child, but in any relationship, any relationship you can grieve the loss of. You can, you can grieve the loss of a job or a relationship with a spouse or whatever, but they've taught us that we have to put this face on, and I think that's the worst thing that we really can do. Let's put this face on, because now we all have other children, and we're teaching these children that you can't cry, you gotta be strong, and that's not what we need to teach them. We need to teach them that this is the hand we've been dealt, and we got to play it. And this is about your healing, not about anybody else's. They're responsible for theirs. You're responsible for yours.
And Miss KeKe?
As for me, I do the visuals. I do the memorials. I go to the cemetery. I do those things because anything that will make me feel like I'm closer to Dante, that's what I want. The visual, when I see the balloons go up, I feel like he's catching it. I feel like I'm sending my love up to him, even though he knows how much I love him. As far as celebrating his birthday, I would do that anyway if he was here, because that's Dante. You know, I do it for all my children, but that's Dante. Like, how can I not celebrate or memorialize or remember him in some way? And I want the people that love him and love me to help. And as far as going to the cemetery, in my mind, that's where I last laid him to rest, you know. So, yeah, mentally I know where he is, but I feel like I'm drawn. I don't go every day. I don't even go, but probably once a month. But when I go, I feel like I'm drawn there. And it's now one thing I have avoided was I didn't do the visual, but his friends wanted to do it. By all means, you go ahead and do it. My children went, but I just didn't want to have a visual, and I was planning a funeral and a burial, you know. So I didn't feel that. So and as far as where he passed, when I saw the sign Glen Burnie, I would want to avoid it. It used to break me. Like, I don't want to go that way. Because I had to take that. He lived in Glen Burnie, but I had to take that to get to Baltimore Washington Hospital, where he went, you know, where they took him to. And now I could see it, and yes, it comes to mind, but I don't have that feeling anymore. And I thank God for that. So it's different things. I mean, just Glen Burnie, even if it's on a paperwork, or hearing how many children do you have, that's a trigger for me. Because I had 3 children, but the reality now, I have 2 that's living. So that's a trigger for me as well.
Shannon Craig says, we love you, KeKe. She wants you to know that. So you sit up here and you hear it's 3 different moms. And guys, I am looking at this screen. Forgive my face. Your girl Tasha feeling a little bit under the weather. And I'm like, these faces on this screen is crazy, but that's all right. Look, you heard 3 different versions of how this impacts them. I was reading, a lady was talking about the fact that her child was a hockey player. And, you know, she had another child that she wanted to support, but I can't go in this gym. I don't want to see a hockey game. I don't want to see any of this other kind of stuff. So people thought that she was crazy because of it. So I think it's very important for people to understand the difference. But I want to point out to everyone that what the type of dialogue that you see here, guys, is a type of dialogue that goes on every Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the No Other Mother Circle. And that circle is a virtual circle, guys. If you got a cell phone, if you got a laptop, whatever you may have, you're able to join in with other women who understand what you're going through, because everybody doesn't go through. KeKe is looking for this circle to grow even more, and we want to encourage you to take and get involved. Tell a mother. I just was talking to another mom. Unfortunately, she's in the United Kingdom. She just had a miscarriage. Left me a terrible, sad voice message in my inbox about it. And I wish that the times fit where she would be able to be there. But guys, we can start franchises. Let's have No Other Mother Circles all over the world, while we have Darius X out there making sure that no other mothers have to join the circle. Okay? That's what it's all about. So, guys, just anything that we got, like a few minutes left. I'm gonna get a time check from the studio people. My clock is always wrong in here, but just the last words. I felt that it was just a little bit that we have left out, because I wanted to make sure that we honored Dante in some way here, you know, this week, that we honored him, because I know that you're still going through a tough time. I saw you share your post earlier today, and I hope that provided you some comfort to be able to see baby boy.
Yes.
Baby boy. So anything that you guys would just like to say, everybody just go down. We got about a minute or so left.
Okay. I just want to say that support is here. If it's not the No Other Mother Circle, which I will hope it would be, but just get into some support group, because support is very vital in this journey.
Absolutely. What I would say is, grieving is a process. Take your time. Do whatever you need to do for yourself to get to wherever you need to be. It's not something that just happens overnight. It doesn't happen over a year. You know, it could be years and years and years, but just do whatever you need to do for yourself. And whatever you do, please love yourself.
Absolutely. I would say for the people viewing, those who have not lost a child, to really try to understand what it would be like if you could put yourself in that position, what it would be like for you to have to pick out a casket for your child. It's not a pretty thing, but be there. You don't always have to say anything, but just let the parents know, the siblings know, the family know that you're there for them in the case that they ever just want to talk. We just want some support. We want you to be there. So just, if you can't do anything else, just let them know that you're there if they ever need, someone to talk to.
Listen, 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Some of the stuff that comes up out of our mouths that haven't gone through the experience need to stay in the mouth. We can't grab it back once it's said, and they don't always tell us when it's hurting them. We got Diane Withers saying, I love you, Tawana. I'll always have your heart, Tawana. I'll be there with you. And Trinity Carpenter, I love you too, baby girl. She said, I love you, mama. I love you too. So, guys, that's another conclusion. Part 2, No Other Mother Circle. I do want to say, look forward to seeing both Tawana and Danisha both coming back, because they also have their own individual projects. So we work together, and then we have our separate things that we support each other on too. So look forward to seeing them in the fall, coming back and sharing what else both of these wonderful young ladies do. And KeKe, I just want to thank you. You did such a good job here.
Thank you.
I'm proud of Darius. I'm proud. He's gone. Where my baby at? He just rolled out.
Right.
But anyway, that's another episode of Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. Inbox me, Facebook, Latasha Carpenter, Latasha Carpenter, KeKe Collins, any of us, Tawana Eugene, Danisha Coates, about being in the circle. We got a meeting tomorrow night. Let's see you there.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Now see the cinnamon twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me?